From TPN at technophilespodcast.com, I'm David Geisler, and this is the Technophiles Podcast.
It's a mentorship program where Disney basically goes, hey, every year, 10 companies who are playing with new technology, contact us or we'll contact you. We'll give you a bunch of money. We'll give you access to all these business connections that we have, access to the ridiculous amount of things we own, and then we let you loose and see what you do and make us proud.
This Saturday, Vee talks about the Disney Accelerator program. After the break, the cast discusses the idea of intentionally clumsy artificial intelligence. Do or do not, there is no try, because this is the Technophiles 274th episode. All right, everybody. Welcome to tonight's show. I am here with Vee Laabs, Tony Stiglich, and Krista-Lee Malone. And I hate to start on a weird note here, but we can hear my cat sneezing in the background.
Aww.
You guys hear him there? He's like a room away. He's not on the desk tonight. This is like the first appearance he's missed now in hundreds of episodes.
Yeah.
But my cat is sick.
He only came out during the break. Before we started filming. He wasn't on camera once during the...
No, he knew because he didn't want to sneeze on camera.
He's like, oh.
I won't let my adoring fans see me like this.
Can't see me like this. Weird stuff. Okay, so anyway, tonight, Vee Laabs, you are talking about... What the heck is this?
Disney Accelerator?
I don't somehow... Oh, I've got the wrong link up on my computer right now. Yeah, Disney Accelerator, which sounds totally great.
Yeah.
Then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with me talking about an emotional robot, or a robot that at least wants to evoke emotions from you.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to waste any time at all here. It's a Saturday night. I kind of want to just hit it and quit it.
Wow.
Oh.
That's not what I meant, like the topic.
There's a quote. It's Saturday night, etc.
I don't know why I said that.
Oh, good job.
Let's hit this story and then retain it. All right.
We'll show some commitment to this story. Oh my gosh. Well, so this was kind of spurned by my newscast that I did this week, this last week. Disney has this program they're doing right now called Disney Accelerator. And it's a mentorship program that...
Yes.
Well,
I mentioned this really quickly on my BB-8 episode for Newscast.
Yeah, and it's weird that's... I guess it's a testament to how well it's doing and how the companies that are associating with it are actually blowing up pretty well.
Indeed.
It's a mentorship program where Disney basically goes, hey, every year, 10 companies, 10 startup tech, science, whatever companies who are playing with new technology or new ways of interacting with people in social media or whatever.
Yep. Companies that they find interesting enough.
Yeah. Contact us or we'll contact you. Mm-hmm. We'll give you a bunch of money. We'll give you access to all these business connections that we have, access to the ridiculous amount of things we own, to collaborate with people in those zones and things relating to what you do. And then we let you loose and see what you do and make us proud and have a big audience.
Yeah, absolutely. It is definitely a mentorship program. It's not like some kind of investor or loan situation or anything like that. They're taking them on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Disney gets what Disney's getting out of that is they're getting all these discoveries, frankly, out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sphero is a really good example of
I'd
success.
argue the most famous example right
Absolutely. Now. It is. Oh,
I know he's sneezing in the background.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Okay. Yeah, Sphero, they started out just kind of like they have this technology and they're probably like, what do we do with it? We have this like little ball that rolls around. That's neat.
Well, I think at the time when Sphero first started, they knew what they thought they wanted to do with it, and then Disney was like, actually, you could do all of the things with it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the goal with it is that they open up these channels to just be like, you know what, it's not. You have your ideas, but you can also just make it available to the general public in neat, accessible ways. Like that's the whole goal is like make it into something related to entertainment.
Sure.
And not only that, like in my newscast story, I talk about Open Bionics, and they're just like a 3D printing company that makes modular hands for children and adults alike, who are either are amputees or were not born with a hand. And they are using like the resources given by Disney to make better hands and themed hands to make kids want to use their prosthetics more often. Oh my gosh.
The famous like Iron Man prosthetic that hit the internet a few months ago.
It's so neat. Yeah.
Fine. You know what I mean? I mean,
it's okay. I mean,
make the kid feel cool. Granted, it is, Disney licensing and all that stuff, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Disney's also
My dad always used to say that to me when I was younger. He was like, no, he's not cynical or anything. In fact, I'm going to tell 2 stories real quick.
Go ahead.
We were at Disney World and we were waiting in line for one of the rides to start. I was like 8 years old or something. I literally think that this sentence made me become a designer, like that, my career path as a designer. And I don't even know my father, who's an engineer, knew that he affected me in this way. But we were in this line and it was, I guess we were waiting for some show at Epcot Center or something like that. Show/ride, they're always kind of somewhere in the middle over at Disney. And everybody, there was like a lot of open space. It wasn't the classic like queue back and forth thing.
Okay.
And all he said to me was, seriously, I was like 8 years old. He was like, hey, Dave, look around. Do you see how relaxed everybody is right now? Do you see how they're just sitting over there? There's all this space. This isn't an accident. He said, this is all planned out to have people act this way when they're waiting in line here. And I was like, like literally, I think like me being a designer like was triggered in that moment. Like for some kids, it's like the dad throws the baseball.
You realized you were the one.
In that moment, I was like, everything is designed, or everything can be designed. It's beautiful in a way, like to use design to crowd control in beautiful ways. There's something to be said for that. So that's a huge compliment towards Disney. Same father. A couple of years later, nothing changed in his life or anything. He said, it's really curious how Disney's they've really cracked the kind of cracked the seal here. They figured out how to make people spend money to advertise for them. In other words, like you buy the shirt with Mickey on it. You're giving Disney money to advertise for them, and there's plenty of franchises that do that now. But that was the first thing I want to say. So like I have to say, the kid with the Iron Man prosthetic, super awesome, and probably making that kid's day. Just like my little nieces love to have their Elsa wands. But Disney owns it all. Just saying.
Yeah.
Did Elsa use a wand?
Well,
there's like.
It's
sorry,
like
I only saw Frozen once. So no,
she didn't in the movie, but there's like shake it and all of a sudden
it's like,
let it go.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's just like Batman having the scuba costume for Batman Begins. That time where he scuba'd in the Arctic or something. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Just saying. I want to not be too cynical because obviously, in many ways, Disney is a company of. They are an example of design and execution. Obviously. Yeah.
So
being done well.
Is this just another example of them designing things to happen perhaps in their benefit while they're also cultivating the technology world?
I mean, I think that would they do these types of things without benefiting from it? Probably not.
Right, I agree.
But I think they're finding creative ways in which not only do they benefit,
right.
They're also doing something good. I mean, if you work for a company and you say, "Oh, we want to sponsor this race or something," like that's nice. That gets your name out, but it's not. I mean, you're benefiting from it in some way, but. This is a very concrete way in which you're getting, essentially some IP out of it. So I think it would be unrealistic to expect them to do this type of program altruistically without benefiting some way from it. But I like that they're getting creative about the ways in which they can do it.
Sure, I agree. That's the thing about Disney is like they actually do some pretty interesting and impressive things.
Yeah.
And you just kind of never can forget that at the end of the day they're an entertainment company. And that's okay though. But if some of these companies, well, anyway, I don't want to I feel like I'm steamrolling your
No, we can discuss this. This is fine.
Were there any other companies that were talked about that were kind of interesting to you?
One that really stuck out to me they have like 2 classes right now. 2014 is the one with Sphero. There's a really neat like coding for kids. Codarica, I think it's called.
Okay.
That was last year. And this year, obviously, there.
I can't help but think like, okay, so like just as a joke, the Frozen blah 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 spinoff that teaches my niece how to write HTML.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Right.
Yes.
Like I get it that they need the trademarks and the whatever.
They
but
have that.
Fine.
They are like the sprinkles on any kind of startup that makes it look absolutely delicious. It's like, oh, that's a cupcake, but that's a cupcake with sprinkles.
Perhaps. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I want that one. Give me that.
More
I will say
importantly,
is-
it's the
yeah.
sprinkles that you saw in that movie.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. It's the sprinkles I saw in
and the sprinkles that you can go
everywhere.
ride on and all that.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So for this year, there's
Like Honey I Shrunk the Kids, huge sprinkles.
Get behind that.
Behind Honey
That
I
was
Shrunk the
Disney
Kids.
too, wasn't it? Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, it was absolutely.
So
That was like my ultimate like favorite experience was at MGM in the Honey I Shrunk the Kids Playland thing where they
I love that.
upscale everything and let you like run around.
I love that, but I did not go on the ride because those 4D things scared the crap out of me.
Sure.
I was like 11 when I first went to Disney. Which one is the one in Florida?
Well, Disney World's in
World.
Florida along with a couple others.
I went to World and I was the worst. I was 11 and I was afraid of everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, so that's what
I
I was
made it
going to
miserable
ask.
for my
'Cause
brothers
I
and
had
my
the
family.
exact same experience.
Yeah.
I was probably too young, definitely
Like
too
didn't
scared
want to go on
do
any of the
anything.
rides.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
There was a.
But I didn't.
I have a
This
story
is not
for
the topic,
you two
but I was
PhDs
just.
over there.
I was afraid of
Actually,
Imaginarium or whatever it was. It had like Eric Idle and a computer generated dragon, and it was all about the senses.
Yeah, Figment.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
Figment
ride
was awesome.
I was afraid of that because it went to a dark tunnel.
Well,
at the
it's
very
true.
beginning, and I was like,
yeah.
"No, bad things in there."
Yeah, a
and
little
now
bit of the
that
dark
just
rides.
made this all the more relevant. So let me tell you a story about Disneyland in California.
Oh,
They had this
This
ride.
is where we're going. This is
Getting all prepared here.
the Disney trademark effect has literally taken over this
It is
podcast,
totally
and that's
taken
how it
over.
works.
So they had this ride called Space Mountain, where it was all.
Wait, tell me about this
wait,
Space
this-
Mountain you
Mountain?
This
speak of.
obscure
Hold on,
small
hold on.
thing.
So from what I've been
There's this
told,
ride.
they actually modified it so it wasn't as dark.
Okay.
After I went on it when I was 4 years old.
Oh,
Okay.
did Space Mountain scar you?
4 years old is young for a roller coaster.
I was gonna say, how'd you
Yeah,
even get on
wow.
it? You were a very tall 4-year-old.
My niece is.
I was
perhaps.
actually ridiculously tall up until middle school, and then
And it
I
went
kind
down.
of evened
Whoa.
out. It didn't go down. Everyone else caught up.
I mean, I get the curve went down. Is what I was thinking.
Right,
Yeah.
the curve went down. But yeah, I was like 4 years old when we went to Disneyland. I might
It's
have
a
been
little
5,
young.
but either way.
Yeah, it's like People Mover territory when you're
it was.
4. I think.
I went on Space Mountain before they modified it because it was too scary
So
for adults.
I went
Yeah.
in 2nd grade was my first time at Disney World, and I remember being on the People Mover. And when the People Mover goes through the Space Mountain portion, I was a little freaked out there, a little scared.
It was terrifying.
But then somewhere around 4th grade, then you were like ready to go. But anyway,
Anyway,
The Incubator. It's a good press. It's cool.
it's fine. They're
Yeah.
doing great stuff.
Yeah.
And not to put too fine a point on it, but like Sphero, the company, now is a real company. They're gonna, all of those people that put hard work into designing that thing got picked up, and those 10 to 20 to 500 guys and gals, that's awesome. Disney's getting billions of dollars out of Sphero droids or
Yeah.
out of BB-8 droids now. Disney gets what they need.
Sure.
It's a win-win, and I'm choosing not to be cynical about it. I
Yeah.
think we know what's going on here. It's
I mean,
fine.
you're essentially just it's a better way to just hire independent contractors.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
Right.
it's a more collaborative, more creative experience, but I'd be hard pressed to think anybody would find that to be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay, I see the story that's up on Vee's phone, and you have to bring that up.
Yes.
It is so
Emotive.
cool.
Is this one that caught your attention?
Yes, it
Yes.
is. Because
too.
we actually talked about this. I believe you were on the episode where it's
Is this the bracelet?
it's an EEG device.
Not the
No.
bracelet.
No, there we go. We brought it up.
Take a drink.
So we talked about
We have
this.
to make a list, like on a
Yeah.
Tumblr or something, of
We
our
will.
actual drinking game
We
rules.
will.
Okay.
But Emotive, we talked about this on like a podcast where we talked about games and it was the Neural Games show.
Yes, I remember
yep.
that.
And this
I remember
is that device where it helps. Their idea was to help it focus kids who have ADD, and you play games with
To
this
move the
device
truck- to blow the truck away.
to blow the truck away,
Yeah.
and to do all this stuff. Emotive is that company and is one of the companies that Disney has on their
so we're
program.
gonna have like Star Wars Force games
That
in no
is
time
exactly
at all.
what people are thinking of.
And
Yes.
there's a picture with it looks like a sphere thing, and like it's hovering above
Yeah.
the dude's hand
Yeah.
because he's thinking it.
Sure.
It is Jedi mind
And
trick.
so now we've put the sprinkles on that one where kids who like Star Wars and maybe have ADD and need help practicing. No, that's what their idea
know,
is,
I'm
that
not-
it helps practice
the
focusing.
sentence sounds
It's the
funny.
delivery.
Yeah,
that's-
I know.
yeah.
But I don't
Straight
have
up.
ADD. I want one.
But yeah, but
Right.
but that's also, it makes it more appealing for everyone, including the people who really need it.
Yeah.
Or who would probably need
Well,
it.
then the kid who has ADD is not going to be singled out as, oh, I know you have ADD because you're using this thing because everyone's using the
Yes.
thing because it's
Because
cool.
it's cool.
Right.
Exactly. And that's the same thing with the prosthetic, is that like people aren't asking, how did you lose your hand? What's wrong with your arm? It's,
How did you get that Iron Man
that Iron Man glove?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
It totally changes it.
Maybe
So
so.
this is,
I want the Sully hand. I want this blue and
Ooh,
green
big
hair.
monster
and, like-
hand. Oh, that would be so cool. Oh my god.
He's like, can I just cut
Can
my
I
hand
just?
off?
I
Can
know.
like, how do I?
I know. I've tried so
So
hard not to make a
inappropriate.
joke like that on the newscast because I was like, I want one of these.
No.
But you know what? I'm more happy for the kids who get to wear them than I want one. So
Of course. Super cool. Any closing comments? Otherwise, I think we're going to get to break.
definitely keep an eye on Accelorator.
Is there like a website or a Twitter account we can go to?
I believe it's just it's DisneyAccelerator.com. You can see everything they've done in the past 2 years. Lots of really interesting companies that you all should check out and keep an eye on because they're probably gonna blow up real soon
In popularity.
in popularity.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of show.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think we're going to go. It's kind of a weird
Yep.
Saturday, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
We're going to go to
Isn't
break.
it always?
Saturdays tend to be the looser episodes. That's okay, though. I'm fine with it. It's a weekend. Sounds good. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, David Geisler here, host of the Technophiles podcast, and I am here with Krista-Lee, also from the Technophiles podcast, and we just want to tell you about our third live show over at UWM, at the Digital Humanities Lab, with Stuart Malthrop. Isn't that right, Krista-Lee?
That is correct. On November 18th in the Digital Humanities Lab.
It's going to be awesome. What are we talking about that night?
We are talking about ways to reinvent critical and academic writings through new digital media.
And this is kind of cool because we've kind of talked about similar, like almost like stepping off points in some of our previous episodes, and we're going to meet with Stuart to talk about. We're going to kind of extend the conversation into like now more like what does it mean for the future, and I'm really excited about that. And we should note real quick, if you haven't watched our other two episodes, you can check them out right over here. We've got Jake Gill over here from Skritter and Thomas Melody right here, right here. And go click on those right now if you want to take a look at the full episodes. Otherwise, we'll see you at UWM on
November 18th at 6:30.
I totally forgot the date. November 18th. Sounds good. Remember, of course, it's free. It's open to everybody. Anybody can come. Starts at 6:30, but you can get there at 6 if you like. The second floor, UWM library. I'm just repeating stuff now.
Pretty much.
I think we got it.
That's good.
And I'm going to go watch this one. It's not working. I don't know what the problem is.
Try Thomas's. It might
Oh.
work better.
They got to do it. Oh, post-production. All right, we are back from the break. Whoa, I came in with some gusto there.
Yeah.
I actually peeked the mic. I just heard it.
Ooh.
I'm here with Vee Laabs, Tony Stiglich, and Krista-Lee Malone. And guys, real quick, I want to talk about robots that make mistakes. If that's all right.
Everybody makes mistakes, and now robots do?
I found an article on the Business Insider from a couple days ago, and it looks like the University of Lincoln in the UK is experimenting with the idea of, so the idea of having like emotional robots has been something that's been around since the 80s.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, the concept of us interfacing with a robot that has maybe perhaps expressions and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and those ideas is something that, pardon me, I'm getting a little hoarse, is an interesting concept. And that's fine. Do you want to look... Sometimes we want to do the thing where we look at like an Osmo and we see no expression, so we project the expression. Sometimes we want to see all of the expression, and different people have different preferences. And I would argue that different mediums or whatever would be appropriate for different scenarios. This company, not the company, the University of Lincoln is experimenting with the idea of the concept of robots not always being correct, but that is a blanket statement here. What they're really exploring is, if I may, there's a specific robot that apparently Greg has, Vee.
Yeah.
That is on here. But why don't you set that robot up for a second? Because I think it's going to be a launching point.
Yeah. So there's this tiny little thing, squishy yellow.
It's called the My Keep-On.
My Keep-On. And it looks like a little like squishy puffball in a pot, like a potted plant, but it's a robot. And the way he described it to me is that it was like kind of an empathy plant or an empathy robot where it listens to you and it responds to sound and it'll like tip its head like it's listening to you, and it's really cute.
Fairly random, but at least it projects. Random,
but it doesn't serve a huge purpose, but it's pretty nice. It's there. It's adorable. It makes you happy.
So the idea is if a robot all right, so who here uses Google Now and who here uses Siri or any of them based on your expressions right now? Nothing.
Really. I just use OK Google.
OK Google. That's what I meant by when I said Google Now.
Yeah.
I apologize. OK Google. Yeah, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Google Now, is that something different? Is that homepage thing?
I think Google Now is like a more advanced version.
I think OK Google's in there.
Or
but anyway,
I think that's a homepage.
So I use Siri like crazy. I use Siri like a madman. I literally get in the car and I drive to work in the morning. And I say, Siri, what are my reminders? Siri, do I have any unread emails? Siri, what are like, who do I need to talk to? I use Siri like crazy, but I think that I am like of 2% of the people that actually do, because you get the impression that it's essentially just a toy. But there are times when, even though it isn't, in my opinion, it's absolutely not. I've literally even written emails on Siri.
Yeah.
But there are times when something like OK Google or Siri doesn't work. It can't find what you're looking for. And I get frustrated. And you're like, I'm not with this right now. This is not happening.
Gosh darn it, Siri.
Oh, you suck right now. Blah, 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 blah. Well, what if Siri could hear me say that and then say, I'm really just so sorry. I apologize. I couldn't find what you were looking for right now. That concept is what this university is toying with. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Does it create too many emotions for robots, or do we want to keep that interface? What are your guys' thoughts? Tony's looking at me straight right now.
Oh, I think this is if you're trying to make something sort of charming and ultimately not helpful, I guess, or
that's right. That's it, right?
Then that's great. But for something like Siri, that would either, I'm not sure if I would have the reaction of getting more angry at it, or the reaction of like, I really don't need the anxiety in my life of like feeling like I let down my operating system.
I agree.
That's a level that I'm really like emotionally not.
Can it go the other way? Can we be talking to the Amazon whatever stick that just came out that like basically is Siri for your whole home?
Alexa.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the name of it, but yeah.
Which that thing is admittedly pretty impressive, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And now, can that go in the other direction where if you do find something, it gets really excited about helping you with that and adds that data? Should we have our machines? I'm asking you guys, do we want to keep it? Is it a good idea to have all of this extra, this somewhat emotion-based interaction with our artificial intelligence going forward? I can't help but think about.
I think it's an interesting concept.
Here's the thing: whenever I talk to Siri, I still say please and thank you. On accident, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Sure.
It always I'll say, hey, could you please do this? Sure, Dave, it's this. All right, cool, thanks. Wait, it didn't hear me say okay, cool, thanks. Why did I say that?
Does she say you're welcome?
So I have mine set to the guy one, and it's actually the British guy right now because I wanted it to feel like Jarvis. And it kind of does.
Bringing it all back.
Living it.
All back. But what were you asking?
Does it say you're welcome back?
So no, it doesn't. You know what I mean? And what if this is what we're exploring? Should artificial intelligence do that?
I also find myself doing that with OK Google. Is that I say, OK Google, what's the nearest movie theater? Movie theater is whatever miles away.
Right.
Okay, thanks Google.
Yeah.
I just do that.
I do it as well. And my theory is if they're listening to us, if we're building all these machine learning algorithms, we might as well be polite for when that algorithm takes over in 20 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, so is it, because I think what you guys are talking about is more sort of more just making it conversational.
We're using
Or
that.
like adding manners in. Whereas what it sounds like this is doing is it will then unprompted get sad or get excited or something like that. Whereas what you're talking about is
Unprompted,
still
really?
prompting it to do something.
What I interpreted this all as is that certain stimuli will cause it to be sad or
Right.
sympathetic.
So prompted.
Or
But you're not saying like be sad.
Correct.
Right. In
Yeah.
the same way, whereas you saying thank you is then prompting it to reply, you're welcome.
Or what I'm saying is saying thank you. Could that prompt
is
it
that-
to quote unquote be happier?
is our
Right.
yeah.
See where I'm going with this?
Yes.
It,
Okay.
it, it,
Same page.
That it is it that you're increasing your bond with it because you're treating it like a small social interaction. Like
At the
even
end of
though
the day,
yeah.
if you had like an emotional scale of happiness to sadness, and that scale went up and down, inside, and it was an algorithm inside an existing AI,
yeah.
some people think that that actually is a better experience because it's emulating and mimicking the ways that we like to communicate.
Yeah, it creates a bond.
Some people think that actually maybe it would be a good thing to eliminate that factor. You know what I mean?
I would be amongst that group.
Right, sure. And I don't know where I'm at either way.
I
mean, the thing is, like, one of the most frustrating things about talking to humans is that there's all of this middle communication and all
Yeah.
that.
Think
and,
about
like,
all the anxiety.
are
and
we trying to
everything
get away from
yeah.
that?
I would like mine clean and dry and clear cut.
Clean and
all
dry.
That. So
clean and dry. No one needs a moody robot, I think.
yeah, I mean, what happens if it's sad?
So now,
What
what
is-
about
what
this?
is the
so what
result
causes
of
it to
that?
be
But
sad?
it doesn't act.
No, like
right.
what's the
But,
result
like,
once it is sad? Like
It
it's just
apologizes.
sad.
This is all hypothetical right now.
Yeah.
For any
But you
AI.
could program it to just jump back, right? Because in the article they talk about like if the robot makes a mistake, right, which they're programming in, right?
Yeah.
And then it will show sadness because it made a mistake, but then there's nothing to suggest that it is then programmed to like go into depression where the sadness lasts for a whole long
Right.
time. And I get,
But as
But is
someone
it,
who
if it gets
apologizes,
sadder, is it
like-
less? Does it have less ability to accomplish its tasks because that's getting in the way? I think not. I think it's getting
don't think
sadder so
so.
that it's inviting the human to engage more. I think.
right, there,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
there would be
you
no
may be-
reason.
it's not like a detrimental effect.
Yeah.
Right, there's no reason for it to be detrimental unless the programmer programs it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and
And
I think it's important to remember that there's no natural reaction to sadness for a robot. It is going to be what they program.
yes.
Right, but it's eliciting a reaction from the
you.
user.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because I mean, as the kind of person who apologizes if someone bumps into me, like, I guess I don't see the appeal of feeling like my instruments are sad or happy for that matter. I don't.
Instruments. You just said.
Well, okay,
Your
or
robot.
machines, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like it. I like it.
there is a
Right.
distinction in.
So
Yeah,
what
that's
happens
fine.
when it is? And I'm making a joke, but what
Yeah.
happens when it is Jarvis? What happens when your house is Jarvis or Data? Star Trek. You know.
Yeah, that's fair. Or Vision if we're going in the
But
Jarvis
Data
route,
was
but-
fully functional.
Yeah.
He
So
had a relationship with two different women.
Oh, right.
I mean, you're putting in input to get out some sort of output.
Yeah.
So, which I would argue is not the same thing as I don't remember. I'm not a next gen guy, but Data, Jarvis, all these. Well, maybe not Jarvis, but their point is to sort of create an artificial life form more. Is that what they're?
Yeah.
That's what
The
they're
Data
going
thing was,
for.
yeah.
Yeah. In which case, I mean, give it some sort of emotional response, or if the whole point of it is to interact, not in a servitude way, there's an element of like bossing around something that is humanized or.
So let's do this. Let's say you have a human personal assistant, all right?
Yeah.
And you create an emotional relationship with that person because when you ask them to do things for you, because it's their job to do that in this scenario, you feel more bonded with them because you start trusting their ability to do those tasks more and more and more.
Yes.
Right? And so they become more important to you.
Yeah, but that's because they're a person.
Right.
Yeah.
So like a user or a person
Sure.
who's used to interfacing with another, who's used to interfacing with anything, I guess you could say that
Yeah.
way. Nah, I'm not saying a person who's used to interfacing with another human that way, could they be more comfortable having that same that same kind of interface, positive or negative, building that trust with an artificial intelligence? You see where I'm going with this?
This study actually did show that yes, when it is a flawed like robot or flawed system or whatever, people did find it more endearing. They felt more attached
for
to
sure.
it. Yes, and like I think a natural response to like, you know, maybe for an example, like maybe Siri can't find something and it's like, Siri, just try looking for it again, maybe a different way this time. Okay, I'll try it again. And Siri might have sounded down, and maybe like Siri gets it the next time. And I'm like, way to go, Siri. Good job. You did it. Thanks.
That sounds exhausting.
What I understood from what Tony was saying is not that he was arguing that was working, but that he doesn't like it. Right, like because you don't want
but you don't want that emotional.
And I'm sure, I'm sure there are people out there who would.
I know what you mean.
Who want to make
I would
that
say
experience.
especially
your grandmother, or like
it's
you know what I mean.
Exactly what I was going to say.
I'm somewhere in the middle. I tend to be polite with my Siri, my artificial intelligence, but I agree with you, Tony, that is exhausting if you've got to start navigating emotions. You know what I mean?
Right, and again, it's not that I am worried about my machine not working as well because it's sad. It's right. I don't understand why I would want a machine to elicit that reaction in me.
Here, let me offer this. Let's do something super simple. And again, I'll just use Siri as an example. I know there are some people that they'll push their Siri button and they'll just say contacts, and they want to open contacts or something, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. That's fine. I have to admit, I prefer the experience of, let's say I'm driving my car and I want to use the whole no hands thing. Mm-hmm. And I feel, and I've done this before, I actually did this just this morning, I prefer the experience of sitting there driving, not having to look at anything, and then just go, hey, Siri, could you open contacts for me? That felt better to me.
Yeah.
Than like push a button, contacts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Contacts.
Like yelling at your Xbox.
You know, right.
Right.
Yes.
That.
And I would say that's because you're interacting with something that is essentially built to serve you.
Yeah.
So humanizing something that is, I mean, I'm avoiding a very clear word for this, but something that is only on this planet to do your bidding.
Right.
I feel uncomfortable humanizing that.
So let's do this then as an example. So I'll just use myself as an example. In the car, and I say, which is funny because this does work, you can just say, hey, Siri, can you just take me home? You can like do that, and it'll be like, finding directions, so you're home. Okay, fine. But what if it couldn't? And right now it just has some prompted unemotional, like, I'm sorry, I can't do that right now thing. Okay. But what if it was like, oh, geez, Dave, you know, I just can't do it. Is there anything else I can do for you right now? And then I got to be like, no, Siri, it's fine. Just listen, when you get a signal or something, just let me know, okay?
So you're giving it empathy.
See where I'm going with this? Like,
okay,
maybe that's a better experience, but it is a experience I now have to work at more. And I'm proposing that some people, I don't know if I'm in this group or not, want that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think jumping from, like, maybe you're feeling whatever that day, where, like you, in your example, where you're just like, I just want to go home. You don't want to, like, some people are hesitant to just go, okay, I'm going to tell my phone to take me home. Phone, let's go home. And,
you know,
like,
and then
you put on a
no, here's the nth
fake
degree in the other
voice
direction. You have your personal assistant, which none of us have. You're some rich person, you have a personal assistant.
Yeah.
And you just go like, Joe, Alexa, whatever the personal assistant. Oh, personal assistant, listen, it's been a rough day. Can you just do whatever. Just get me home, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they already know, like, okay, they know what to do there. You know what I mean? And we're being very not clear. Mm-hmm. Could that be a benefit if that was into an operating system? If you built a relationship with that operating system,
if it can give you that energy back,
it could deduce information out of that sentence. Then that is kind of interesting.
Okay. I can support it being able to read or react to my emotional state. I'm not saying you should just yell or not use conversational English.
Yep.
But for it to then respond emotionally back is the part that I'm not
I think it has to be like a polite
with.
Like a polite butler.
Right.
It shows empathy in its own way.
Just a sort of friendly, affable voice that doesn't necessarily need to modulate.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm kind of somewhere in the middle with this. I prefer a quality experience. I don't want to just be shouting at a phone like I'm a computer. I'd like to treat it like I'm a human, but I don't need to navigate that OS and worry about if I'm making that OS. And I also think that an algorithm or an artificial intelligence that is purposely making mistakes. I use the trip mechanic in Smash Brothers as an example in the pre-show V. Like, it's excruciating. Why are we building in imperfections?
Is the idea that you run around in Smash Brothers and
so
randomly your character will fall?
In a version ago of the Smash Brothers game, at random, your characters can trip. And it happens one out of 100,000 times. And they do it just to add randomness. Just to be like, to have those moments you go, oh! But like... And it's always fair because it's always random, but it was excruciating for some people. And that's also fair because I think because it was random and it was programmed in. There's no like, well, you ran back and forth enough times that you've built up your randomization for tripping is higher because you're running back and forth. You're getting your character dizzy or some crazy logic, right?
Right.
So an artificial intelligence that's making mistakes on purpose so that I can empathize with it, I think is ridiculous. Personally,
no, I agree. I think it has to be in some sort of non-essential.
It might elicit more of an emotional response from me, but then I'll just go have a human. Right. You know what I mean? A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, my phone isn't a human, so.
Well, I'm not depending on the dancing robot to dance for my benefit, other than just amusement.
Sure.
I'm not counting on it to do something for me. Mm-hmm. But if I were, playing a game, or if I had something that I was counting on, if Siri was like, "Oh, sorry, Dirpadur messed that up," like, I'd be like, "No, just do." Like, I don't need that element of frustrating randomness.
I would go buy a Galaxy if that happened.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah, no, come on now. We're using this as a. We're not talking about Siri specifically. In fact, this article never talks about Siri. We have to point out.
You put in anything, right? So let's say they program that into a video game. Well, then I'm not
any artificial intelligence.
Any artificial intelligence.
You don't want it.
Because Tony's talking about if it's something that you're depending on, right? Then no, I'm not going to buy something that has programmed in mistakes for my empathy because I want to be able to depend on it.
Yeah,
I think I agree. With the exception of like a Gigapet. Or a hologram Tyrannosaurus Rex for your HoloLens.
That's fine.
But what about
dancing thing? That's fine.
But what about the ability to be like feel kind of bad when it legitimately cannot deliver what it's supposed to deliver?
It should just like apologize that it can't do it.
I
don't need another conversation.
If it just like puts on like a bummed mood where it's like, sorry, I couldn't do that for him. Essentially I tried, and then you respond,
excited.
Oh, it's okay, we'll do something else.
Again, I think this whole like.
Okay, did anyone watch the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie?
Yes.
And I'm sure most of us have read the book, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And you have the ship computer that's overly excited about everything.
Yeah.
And how annoying that is.
Hey guys, I don't mind telling you, you've got rockets coming right at you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't coloring my opinion, but now it definitely is.
Yeah.
Like, it just sounds tiring, I guess.
Okay, so if you could put in self-diagnostics into this, then I might be a little more accepting, right? Like Vee's example of you're talking to
Bring us
Siri.
home with this point.
Okay, so let's say I am asking Siri, how do I get home from here? And if Siri's answer is... I'm sorry, I don't have signal right now. Mm-hmm. Right? So give me the reason why you can't do it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So now you have the self-diagnostic coming in with the
emotion.
I'm sorry, I can't do it for you.
Which kind of does happen, but those are all pre-scripted responses right now. Mm-hmm. Like, you'll get a sentence where it's like, I'm sorry, I just can't do that right now. But that's all pre-scripted stuff.
No,
would you feel weird if it called you Dave afterwards?
I want the diagnostics. Like, saying, I'm sorry, I can't do that for you right now. I'm going to be like,
sorry, Dave.
Why not? I want to go into settings now and figure out what's the problem. But
I programmed Siri to call me Dave actually a few days ago.
Yeah. Just don't choose the Hal voice.
Mm-hmm.
If
it can give you some
I
more
like the
information.
self-diagnostic idea for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That would actually
we don't need to be a
useful.
therapist to the operating system. Even if the benefit is, even if on the high end it means we feel more emotionally connected, I think all of us here are agreeing that we don't, to get the positives, maybe in this case where we're trying to get work done, we don't need the positives and the negatives. Like, let's just get work done.
Right.
If you want to look at a dancing robot, or if you want to, I'm not joking, have yourself that Gigapet or digital DigiPet Microsoft HoloLens critter for those reasons. That's
Yes.
fun. That's for amusement. We're not trying to get work done.
You know, Data could turn off his emotion chip.
Yeah.
He didn't even get the emotion chip to that first movie, right?
Was that the first?
Generations, I think. Anyway.
No, I think he
Talk
had it
about
before then,
those.
because isn't that the first one where he actually turned it off?
No, that was the first one where he was cracking jokes. The first movie, he got an emotion chip. He might have had like a little... There might have been like a one-off episode here and there where he had some version of it. But we need to finish this episode.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's getting late.
It is super late. The camera's already died. People are just staring at a screen grab of us standing in black and white right now if you're
Yeah.
watching this on YouTube.
You need to add Schrodinger to the cast. picture.
Schrodinger's in the big cast picture, actually.
Is he?
I'll show you.
Okay.
But we got to get out of here right now.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Vee Laabs. People can find you on Twitter at
They can find me at bear_Annika.
Marvelous Tony.
I am at Tony_Stig.
Oh, Tony, I don't mind telling you this. I just feel so great about that.
Yeah. Thanks, Twitter.
Krista-Lee, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at GamerAnthro.
We love it when people tweet the show at Technophiles Pod, or they can also find us on Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube by searching Technophiles Podcast, or go to our actual website, technophilespodcast.com. I am, in fact, a little hoarse. This is weird. I might have to take it easy this weekend. And as I recover from my hoarseness, people can tweet me, David Geisler, on Twitter at Raptor Pain. Have a good weekend, everybody.